Hi everyone, Boubacar Crash here, your 9th place finisher from the 24-25 FPL season. And as a reward for finishing 9th out of 9 places in the AJB Invitational, I have put together this informative tips and tricks video on how you can succeed this coming season. Now, I've been going through last season's events in my head, recounting the highs and the many lows. And do you know what? After some thought, I think I've just about figured it out. So here goes, my tips for the 25-26 season. So I think a team name is more important than people realise. Last season, I took my favourite Aston Villa player, I added the word crash, and unfortunately, I think I prophesied my own downfall. And so this season, I was looking for a bit more inspiration. I went to my fellow managers' team names from last season. I had, let's have a look, football team. Kang Clan 11. Now, only a very accomplished wordsmith could come up with such alliterative genius. What else did we have? We had Clueless Wanderers. That man's anything but clueless. Do you know what? In the end, I just ran out of ideas, and unfortunately, we are Boubacar Crash again, which really doesn't bode well. So I'm going to take you through my starting squad from last season, and unfortunately, because it was my first season, I didn't realise that at the end of the season all your data gets wiped. So what I've done is I've put it together using this season's platform, and the prices reflect that. So some of my mistakes. The first one is I've tripled down on Villa because I'm a Villa fan, and I think if you're going to do this for your own team, make sure it's because you support Chelsea or Liverpool or Man City, not Aston Villa. And I've doubled down in defence, and they had a really leaky season. And then I've picked Onana, who's a defensive midfielder who was rotational and got injured. So that was a terrible pick. And then I've also picked Declan Rice, who's another defensive midfielder, because I hadn't really realised the importance, I know it sounds obvious now, of picking goal scorers and set piece takers, although I appreciate he does take corners. The rest of the team isn't terrible, but I think the one thing the elephant in the room when I look at it now is that I didn't have like the one outstanding player or two outstanding players like Haaland, Palmer, Salah, and whilst everyone else had them and was captaining them, I just started falling behind. So I'm going to take you through my team this season. I don't think anyone's seen this yet. Unfortunately, although I'm quite pleased with my team, I've actually had a pretty poor start, which I'm sure everyone will enjoy. But you can see I've gone for Salah, Palmer, Fernandes. I've got Reinders in the team as a transfer. I didn't have him from the start of the season. I've picked a few defenders who I think are going to get the defensive contribution points. And I think it's much more balanced. And I've actually looked at the fixtures for the first few games and tried to pick teams that are going to have some good home games and good point scoring opportunities. I didn't do any of this last season. I just picked it in the 10 minutes before the deadline. So I think hopefully I won't come last. So last season I made 46 transfers and they cost me 52 points, and they were all terrible. Like, I remember bringing in Saka just after he'd scored loads of points and he got injured for the rest of the season. I was very reactive, so I brought in Haaland after about 6 or 7 games after he'd scored all his goals, and then he went on a massive dry spell and lost value. Basically never kept a player more than a couple of weeks if they didn't score, and then they'd always score loads of points after I'd sold them. So I just wasn't patient enough, and I think you need to be patient and you need to have players play the long game, basically. I think last season the only advice that you could give for captaining was to captain Salah, because he just scored so many points. And I worked out that if I'd captained him every week that I owned him, I would have scored enough additional points not to lose the league. But as usual, I was really reactive. So every week that he had a bad game, regardless of the game that was coming up, I'd just switch allegiance and lose loads of points. So I think this season will be different because he's not going to score as many points or as many goals this season, I don't think. But I think you've just got to be patient. I'm never patient. So my triple captain last year was, I think it went on Haaland on like a 666. And I used it about 7 weeks into the season in the hope that I was going to catch up because I was already bottom. And then when everyone used it on a double game week, I hadn't actually heard or didn't know what a double game week was at that stage. Everyone used it when Salah scored about 30 points, and that was pretty devastating. And I'd also used my free hit, my wild card. I think the only thing I didn't use until the last few games was the bench boost, which again didn't score me any points anyway. So the obvious tip for the chips is to use them sparingly at the beginning and wait for the double game weeks and things. I mean, it's so obvious, but I just had no idea what I was doing, so I wasted loads of points that way. So I've had a bit of an epiphany moment here when trying to prepare this video. I'm looking online on YouTube at all these football nerds, basically, and I hadn't realised just what an industry it is, the FPL online, you know. And there's guys here who are finishing top 5, 10,000 every year, just putting out 4, 5 videos a week, telling you exactly what to do with your team. I mean, it sort of takes the fun out of it a bit. But do you know what? When you're losing in the league, I could see why you'd be tempted, and why I'm now tempted, given how shit I am at this game. So there you have it, that's my season wrapped up. My inaugural year was pretty poor, terrible performance, bottom of the league, but I've learnt a lot, and on the bright side, there's only one way I can move, and that's upwards. So hopefully, I won't be seeing you next season.